What international law allows Israel to deprive an entire population of water and electricity?
No international law would allow that. We have also not done that.
So you're saying that we didn't cut
shelter,
off the entire population from water and electricity?
Absolutely not. We're continuing to supply water, and our obligations under international law are to facilitate the provision of life-saving humanitarian aid necessary for the civilian population.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם.
So you're saying that we didn't cut off the entire population from water and electricity?
Absolutely not.
Israel's Minister of Energy has announced that the water is being shut off to Gaza.
Israel supplies 2 water lines into Gaza.
Actually, there are 3 pipelines that Israel uses to supply a limited amount of water that it sells to Gaza. The Israeli spokesperson only mentions 2 pipelines, because Israel has only gradually turned on 2 of the 3 pipelines since originally cutting all 3 pipelines off in October.
On October 7th, Hamas fired, I think, over 3,000 rockets in the space of a few hours that took down the electricity grid that was providing electricity from Israel to the Gaza Strip.
מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים.
There's no requirement in international law for a state that has been attacked in a war to continue supplying enemy territory with electricity or fuel.
That is debatable, but considering that the only other clean water sources in Gaza are the seawater desalination plants that require electricity or fuel to run, it makes turning off the water supply so much worse. But the most messed up thing about all of this is that only 11% of Palestinians in Gaza have access to clean water through the public system, meaning that up to 90% of the population depends on water tanks, bottles, and containers to get water. A majority of the population has been displaced from their homes, so they will not have access to their water tanks or containers. And considering water bottles are imported from Asian countries, they won't be getting access to them either. So it's not as if Israel was doing much by selling a small amount of water to Gaza in the first place, but cutting off water lines while most civilians in Gaza have no access to their usual sources of water is beyond depraved. But let's thank the Israeli government for turning back on 2 of the 3 water lines into Gaza, even though it took them 3 weeks. No wonder PragerU calls them the most moral army in the world.
One of those water lines, by the way, came under attack from Hamas from a mortar, and we had to fix it under fire. We're continuing to supply water, and our obligations under international law are to facilitate the provision of life-saving humanitarian aid necessary for the civilian population. We have been doing that, and we want to see as much food, water,
So you're saying that we didn't cut
shelter.
off the entire population from water and electricity?
Absolutely not. On October 7th,
Israel's Minister of Energy has announced that the water is being shut off to Gaza.
מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים